Hi, I am Emma Pomi, and I am the Young Ambassador to Italy.
Hi, I'm Lucia, and I'm the Young Ambassador to Slovakia.
I'm going to start asking you a few questions also to get to know you better. So, the first one is, how did you know you wanted to become an inspiring girls young ambassador? Does this mean like a useful role for you?
Well, to answer both questions, I must admit that at first, in the beginning, I didn't know at all what to imagine as under being the young ambassador. Because actually I'm the first young ambassador for my country, so I got the vague idea of having to do some quarterly calls and so on. But as far from that, it was just this vague blank space. And the thing that really convinced me into going for it was that actually the talk I participated at. And it was something about biotechnologies. And actually a week after the talk, I realized that I started to imagine myself as going into biotechnology. And I was really surprised by that. And I was like, this is a powerful thing, obviously. As for the usefulness of that role, I see it that way as well. What I put into it is also what will come out of it. And yeah, I see that the usefulness of the role depends on my input. So yeah, basically that.
Thank you so much. I loved your answer, how detailed it was. And let's move on to the next question. How are girls considered in your country like men? And what are the most common stereotypes when we're talking about women?
Of course, women being considered like men is the goal, isn't it?
Yes.
Personally, I have never faced any discrimination myself, but I think whether you end up being discriminated by your gender or not depends largely on what family you grow in, because I think once you have the sense of equality in you, there aren't any real obstacles that will stop you. But if you haven't grown in the environment that fosters this sort of mindset, you are very likely to be stopped just by the subtle prejudices in society that still exist.
In your life, probably a lot of people ask you also when you're small, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I want to hear your process. I mean, now that I'm asking you what you want to be when you grow up, is it the same thing as what you wanted to be when you were small?
Definitely not. When I was small, I wanted to be a teacher. And after tutoring some of my classmates, I do that largely before math tests. I don't want that anymore. And I'm not quite sure yet what I want to be. And that's also why I was so impressed at the talk, because I frankly have no idea. I still have no idea. And I never was even leaning towards a particular subject or field, because I got good grades and basically everything that was taught in school, and I couldn't really imagine myself in any position. And that's also why I joined this project and decided to be part of it, because I wanted to learn myself about all the opportunities that are there on the job market and they're offered to us, and just kind of know how to orient myself. Because I think it's a problem, there are maybe 5 of my classmates who know definitely what do they want to be when they grow up, and most have just this sense of ambiguity, and that's why I think this project is so important and so valuable for not just girls but all young people in general.
Yeah, it's a road to maybe understanding what you want to be when you grow up, maybe also. And moving on maybe to the last question, what is your source of inspiration in your family, and who's the person that stimulates you to be yourself and always pursue your goals?
It's hard to choose between my parents, because frankly they are both very inspirational for me. And if you ask me who is my role model, I would definitely answer my parents and someone I read about in biography, because they both have certain aspects of their personalities I would love to have when I grow up. I'm not sure about like the job part, but definitely they support me in everything I choose to undertake, and I would like to be a similar parent to them once I grow up.
Thank you so much. I'm done with my questions, but it was super nice learning about you and kind of your whys in your life a little bit. And yes, I really loved doing this interview and asking these questions to you. Thank you.
Thank you as well. And now I'm going to ask you some questions as well.
Okay.
The first one is, just let me introduce it a little. I've already met you in the previous call, and I remember that you have many hobbies that among them also figure math and songwriting and surfing. I know that many girls struggle with math and their relationship with math. So since you have such a good relationship with math, and I know you have led several math competitions and so on, I wanted to ask you, how did your relationship with math evolve, and whether you have always liked it, and in the end, how do you perceive it? Is it like rather a talent or skill? And like finally, what would you advise people who struggle with math?
So just a tiny introduction before, I obviously believe that I agree with you when you say that many girls struggle with math, because mostly when you think of a mathematician, you would think about Einstein, for example, which is the typical very smart man. And you wouldn't think about, for example, women scientists. You wouldn't think, like, that's not the first impression. For example, in my school, we have houses, and all of them are men. All of them. And my relationship evolved in year 7, because before, when I was in year 6, math for me was really, really easy, let's say. But I feel like math starts becoming fun when it's harder. It starts becoming more interesting when you have to find the process behind it and the logic behind it. It just gets more interesting. And I would obviously perceive it as a talent, because it's not something you come across really. Being good at math is something that anyone could be, but not everyone understands, you know? Like when you think about maybe memorizing formulas, that's one thing, but when you have to apply logic, that's another. So I would perceive it more as a talent. I would advise people to ask for help. Even though it seems scary, asking for help is the most important thing anyone could ever do, because help is something that us as human beings, we don't know everything, but everyone knows little things. And so if we put them together, we can create a really big idea. And so asking for help for me is very important. I've always asked help in my life, even though at the start I was scared because I was afraid to appear ignorant. But we have to always remember that there's some things that we don't know, and as human beings, it's okay. It's not going to end our life. But it's important to also learn the things that we don't know, so then we can learn even more, and maybe one day people can ask us things that we used to ask them.
In this case, it would be like rather ignorant to pretend you are not ignorant, and just not asking for help. Like even the best people like have to ask for help sometimes. So yeah, that's really, I think it's like a sign of a mature person that they actually can ask for help. So thank you for your answer. My next question is, how do you proceed when you want to acquire a new skill, whether it be surfing, songwriting, or just playing a new musical instrument? Also, what resources would you recommend to girls wanting to learn the skills you already have? Maybe like if you attended an online course or just a course in general or something like that.
First of all, what I like to do is I like to kind of motivate myself. Self-motivation is the most important thing when it comes to learning a new skill, because for example, when I wanted to learn surfing at the start, I was so scared. I was scared that people would judge me because I'm a starter. But then I motivated myself, telling me and saying phrases. For example, in Italian we call it mantra. So when you just say to yourself 3 phrases that will help you get through hard times. For example, mine is stop, calm down, and decide what you want to do, because that's the most important thing. When you're learning a new skill, what do you want to do? And I really wanted to learn surf, but I was afraid. But I threw myself in this hobby and I found myself in it. And now it's my favorite sport of all time. I love it so much. And it's important to understand that every single person has fears, but overcoming them is the most important thing for me. Also, when it comes to resources that I used, I attended surfing classes, for example. When you're looking for a more, let's just say, free option, is putting on just some music on your phone and meditating is something that I really found useful, because it really helps you find who you are, because it helps you concentrate on your core values and who you are as a person. And just when you're stressed, I feel like meditation is the most important thing. Also, when you're learning a new skill, because it can help you calm down, it can help you clear your mind. For example, when I have an assessment, the day before I always meditate, so I have a fresh mind and I know that I'm going to do well, and I'm self-motivated, as I said before, to do well.
It's interesting. And also the word mantra, mandra is also in our language, just with T.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if it's an international thing. I thought like okay, but I think like it's really good to have, so it would be great to make it an international thing and kind of like normalize it, because I feel a lot of people talk about like finding your why behind every activity you do, but few actually do that. So it's great that you do. Let's move on to the next question, which is, do you already know what would you like to do in future?
As also you said before, I still don't know, because I have a few ideas, but they can change. Because also when I was little, I thought that I would be, for example, a scientist, because I thought I would only do experiments all day, and that's not what the science world is about. But ideas can change. Now I really want to try and become a singer, because it has been my passion for a lot of time. Also because I want to write songs not only about breakups or my boyfriends, but also about little things that are happening in the world. For example, we're talking a lot about climate change and different things, but not many people are talking about the violence against, for example, animals and women. It's something that is not talked about a lot, because it's not considered as important as anything else. It is considered important, but not as important. Like, there's more important things, while we should consider everything on the same level. As I found my passion for surf, I also want to be, I want to teach surf and teach people to find their wave, to find themselves in surf, because surf is just an amazing sport to clear your head also. And so yeah, I still don't know, but I'm figuring it out. And so I can't wait to know what I'm going to do, because I can't wait to experience it.
Thank you. And we have one last question. What is most important to you when you are choosing how to spend your time? What are your priorities, and how do you conciliate them with your values?
My priorities in life are always having fun. Like, I love having fun in everything I do, in math. And for example, in chemistry, if I have to do bonds, I like to organize them in little groups. So I don't see it as a hard thing, but I see it as a game, because you should take on life as if it was let's just say a kid going to a park. You don't know what people you're going to meet there. You don't know what you're going to do. And it's kind of like, trying new things is just fun. And I like to spend my time working on myself. It's important to start developing healthy habits now, so that you can maybe keep them for the future. And I always keep also an agenda of everything I need to do, so that I know exactly how to spend my time and what I have free and what I don't have free. But also everything I do is based on my hobbies and what I like. So I always have fun in everything that I do. And as my values are mostly staying healthy and happy, they fit well in what I do, because I do, for example, well, as I mentioned a lot, surf, singing, and math. These are my three main passions. And they fit well in the idea of having fun and being healthy, because also the people that I work with, even in the young ambassador community like you also, they're really fun to work with, and I just love meeting new people and trying new things, because you never know like what you're gonna end up doing in life. Maybe I'll end up being a vet, but I don't know yet. So it's fun trying new things so I can see where my passion is going to lead me.
Yeah, I love the approach you have to life, like sort of just walking blindly into something and seeing what it has got. And I think it's a really wonderful approach to life. Although I have like technically asked you 4 questions already, I just wanted to like a little like feedback or just on the answers I gave you. Like, was there something that surprised you?
Honestly, a thing that surprised me was that I loved your approach on how you said that when you grow up, you still don't know yet. It just made me feel like you really want to spend your time also learning what you want to do, because some other people spend their life continue doing one thing that then when they grow up they just end up maybe not even caring about. But I love how you don't know, because it gives me an idea how you're always up always to try new things, and you're still trying to find it, and you're not wasting your childhood on something that maybe when you grow up you won't even like anymore. So I really loved that approach you have, because it's just amazing. For example, many of my classmates, they already know what they're going to do, and I'm like, excuse me. For example, many of them want to go to Harvard because maybe they've seen it in like Gossip Girl, or I don't know, like different TV programs, and I'm like, okay, I still don't know, but okay.
And you're confident, like
Yeah.
you have to own that.
Yeah, but I love your approach on how you don't want to waste your life on this. You just want to see where life gets you, and if you want to do something, then stick to it. But we're young, we have time, and I love how you still don't know. It's just something that I really love.
Okay, thank you.